Hello, Alex. How are you?
Hey, great to be here with you,
Thank you so much. Alex, I've been trying to do this for a while, and finally I have you.
which is not easy, I know.
He's been traveling the whole world for 100 plus flights already in a year.
No, this year a little bit less.
We have a few months left.
I'll be doing my flight number 59 on Friday.
Okay, so you have a few months to catch up,
Oh.
obviously. Let's do a quick little introduction, guys. So this is Alexander Elvis. Am I
Yes.
pronouncing it
Yeah,
right?
it's okay. Yeah.
So he's our CCO and COO, and I would like you to do a short introduction about yourself, please.
Okay, what can I say? Well, I'm as you said, Alexandre in Portuguese.
Okay.
I've been working in aviation for the last 20 years.
Very
A
good.
little bit more actually, 22. I'm older than I want to be.
22,
22
wow.
years in aviation. I was in the Portuguese Army before. I was an officer in the Portuguese Army, and that was always my dream to become an officer in the military. And I did it. So I went to military school, military academy, and but once I was there, I realized that wasn't what I really wanted. And aviation found me. I did a number of different things through a short period of time, and I was involved even within or in parallel to my aviation, to my military activity. I always did some kind of business, so I had this entrepreneurial vein.
That has to be there. I mean, that doesn't, you can't study or you can't
Yes.
do something. You know, it
And
needs
that-
to be inside.
yeah, and for matters of chance, I ended up in aviation,
Mhm.
and usually I say that I know a little bit of everything in aviation. I'm not an expert in anything,
Okay. All right.
but I've worked in.
What do you say that is the master of, what is that proverb where it says
I don't
you
know.
can either be the jack of all trades?
Yep.
Yeah,
More or less
something like
like
that, yeah? So you're the
because-
jack of all trades, I would say, yeah?
Of aviation, I think I'm a little bit because I've worked in all areas of aviation. So it gives me a good insight of all areas, such as from cabin crew to starting up a MRO and managing, so a Part 145 company.
Amazing.
I work in business aviation in big commercial aircraft. I've set logistics, and then 10 years ago, I ended up also by chance to be invited to help a company in Portugal to run a flight school. And the goal was actually to open a maintenance company, which I did, and then set up this flight school that
It's okay, no worries. It's okay, we'll
set up
cut
this
it.
flight school that they acquired, and that's why I started into Ab
So-
Initio flight training.
So the way I look at you, when I go through your LinkedIn profile as well, he's quite famous on LinkedIn. Please check his profile out. I see you've got cabin crew, you've run flight schools, you've done everything. You were even in Saudi. You've traveled to different parts of the world.
Yes.
I see you were in Cape Verde as well.
In Mozambique, I lived in 7 countries.
Okay.
As I mentioned, so I always had this entrepreneurial side, even during the military, my military life, let's say, but also during my aviation life. So a period of time, I was fully focused on my own business.
Okay.
But then in 2014, I got this invitation, as I was telling you, to run this flight school, and I said, yeah, that's aviation. That's what I really.
That was
that's
in
what
your
I
blood, basically.
It's
yeah?
a passion, and you know it is.
Sure.
You
Once
can-
you enter this world, you can't.
It gets into you, and it doesn't get out. It's
Correct.
impossible. So I embraced that challenge, and for 3 years I ran up that company, and I managed to sell it to a very large U.S. company.
Amazing.
With a very large multiple for the owner. And then after that, I was invited to do the same to another Portuguese-based aviation group. They had a flight school, but they also run MRO, regional airline, handling company, maintenance training, so a number of different areas. And I was, again, rebranding, restructuring. And then I left in the end of 22. Again, we sold the flight school to an investor, also with an interesting position, and I left because I was invited to join Airways Aviation and help
I mean,
expand the brand.
You've been with us almost 2 years now. 2 years.
It will be
yeah?
2 years in January.
2
yes.
years in January. All right, that's it's been a very interesting journey.
It looks like it was 2 months ago. It's been running all the time.
It does feel like that. Tell me a little bit about your background before you joined Air Aviation. So you mentioned you were
Yeah.
part of some big flight schools as well. Now, when you look at the flight schools in Europe and when you look at the flight schools here in the Middle East, what's that one thing you see as a big difference? Because you've traveled the world, and what's that one big difference? If a student out there is listening to this and
Yeah.
saying, should I join a flight school in the Middle East? Should I join a flight school in Europe? What's that big difference you would see?
Okay, well, the regulation is different, as you know. If you're looking at specifically the UAE, the GCAA regulation is actually the European regulation a few years ago. So they haven't updated totally,
It's
but
still catching
it's
up, yeah.
pretty much based on the European regulation. As you know, it's currently the highest standard regulation in
Gold
the world.
standard,
So
yeah.
everybody is looking for that. So that's one of the things that Europe, I'd say, is more competitive because it's being managed by the most strict and thorough regulation currently in the world. So if you are an airline and you are looking to hire a pilot that has been trained under this regulation, I think that you have an advantage on that. A disadvantage for the Middle East schools that I see is the geography or the meteorology, as you know. So you live here, you know. It's very difficult to fly here, especially in the UAE. You have very limited airspace. You have big airlines here, so Emirates, Etihad, Fly Dubai, very large airlines. So the high dense traffic, it's very difficult to fly. You have the heat, and as you know, you cannot fly a piston engine aircraft
That's very
above
true.
35 degrees. There's no power, it doesn't
It's
climb.
crying, it's
doesn't
crying,
climb, so
yeah,
it's
it
not
doesn't
safe.
climb, yeah.
So another challenge. I not say a problem,
So
but
what's
a
the
challenge.
alternate, your favorite location in Europe, I would say, for single engine and multi-engine?
Well, Southern Europe is pretty much similar in terms of weather. So we all call it a fair weather location. So we're talking about Southern Portugal, Southern Spain, Southern France, Southern Italy, and getting into Southern Greece. So all this area, I would say, is similar in terms of weather conditions. Then you have the geography. If you go to Greece, you have some mountains, so it's not so easy to fly.
Also the reputation, I say.
Well, there are
Some
good ML schools there everywhere, so I know very good schools there. I'm not going to mention goods and bads, but I always like to say to people that wants to join one of our schools that
Sure.
go and visit the competition. It's very important. I'm very comfortable with what we offer, the quality of the training that we offer, the quality of our facilities, the quality of our aircraft. So I really want people to go to our competition and see and compare. If they feel that what the others are offering is better, it's okay. It's because they have their own personal reasons that they feel that that program suits them better. I have no issues with that. I love working with competition. It's the only way for us to get better. I really get along with most of our competitors. As long as they are good, reliable, I'm not going to say honest,
Transparent.
transparent.
No hidden,
That's
no
the word I
hidden
was looking for.
charges and, you know.
If they're good competitors, I really like to have a good relationship with them because if they are doing good things, that will force us to improve what we do. But I would say again, okay, Europe, southern part of Europe is very good for single engine flight training. As you know,
The VFR,
the
visuals,
VFR,
yeah.
the IFR and multi-engine you can do in other locations. The other challenge the UAE has is also the geography because you don't have a lot of points of reference to fly VFR. So you're flying in a desert where everything
the sand
is the
dune
same.
shifts every day, obviously.
It's not easy. So,
It's not easy, yeah.
and for that reason, you also see that most of the big airlines in the region, they are sending their students on their sponsored
That's
programs
true. That is very true.
to train in Europe. You see that with Etihad, you see that with Qatar Airways. So, of course, Emirates has their own flight school here, but they have their own challenges. The course takes longer for these reasons, but
Now, back in
it's also
Europe.
just to finish this point. It's also a question of personal choice.
Correct.
The person needs to feel comfortable where he's going to train, if he's willing to wait longer or not, if it likes the environment. So,
I fully agree with that. I fully agree with that. From a student's point of view, right? So when they're looking at Europe, and let's talk about Airways Aviation Academy, right?
okay,
So
a little bit, yeah.
you are the CCO, CEO.
I'm here to promote our company.
Sure. So from an Airways Aviation point of view, right? So if you're talking to a Middle Eastern student and he's wondering France or Italy or Portugal, what
Or
would
even
you say?
Australia,
Or even
right?
Australia. But because right now we are
Yeah.
obviously facing a lot of Australian visa issues,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
if students are wondering to go to Europe, how would you say is the right way to decide which branch is better
Yeah.
for him?
again, it's a matter of personal choices. Australia is really a good place to train. You've been there.
Sure.
Great weather, great facilities. We are actually opening a third location early next year, which will be our biggest location in Australia. Very, very anxious to announce that.
The Archer Field.
So it's in the greater Brisbane area, so one of the biggest cities in Australia. And we already have a good programs with B2B customers, universities that are going to send the students there. But there is, as you mentioned, a visa issue. The government is not allowing for foreign students to move to Australia as they did before COVID.
They're not flexible anymore.
So we're very, very limited in the number of students we can get there. As you know, we have students waiting for months and months to get the approval to travel there. So Europe provides a good option. And as you mentioned, we have three different offers at this moment. We have France, we have Italy, and we have Portugal. The three offer the same license.
Okay.
They're all has a license. The quality, I can say, it's the same. We follow the same standards. And as we integrate schools like the one we did in Italy recently, we acquired in September a school with 30 years of experience. As we integrate it, we tend to be standardized in terms of procedures, fleet, in terms of the materials that we provide to the students, the e-books, the ad sets, even the uniform. So we are standardizing throughout the academies. So I can say that if a student goes to one country or the other, he will not feel a difference. Then it goes really to a personal
fleet,
choice.
Will there be a difference in fleet?
No, Diamond Aircraft, as you know, we operate Diamonds.
All three locations?
In the three locations. We may have, in Portugal, in Italy, a few different aircraft for the very initial contact phase.
I think in Italy we have a
DA20, which we don't use in
France.
In France, in Portugal, the school that we are working on is Cessna 152, but then on top of that, we're going to add the DA40s and DA42s because, as you know, we are pretty much aligned with the Diamonds.
So Airways Aviation with its
and
big
we
expansions.
may announce something more that you also don't know yet.
Okay. Well, I'm
let's
curious.
Let's wait a couple of weeks.
When the time is right?
Yes, there may be some news, but it will help us expand even further
I want
our
to talk
capacity.
about your next big project. You've been heavily involved in Morocco. I've seen you travel to Morocco a few times.
Yeah.
What's happening in Morocco, if you want to tell my audience?
Okay, so we set up in September a foundation school in Casablanca, right in one of the main arteries of the city, in Abdel Mounen, which is, if people are from Morocco and are listening to us, they know where it is. It's really center of Casablanca. And as you know, Casablanca is not the capital of Morocco, but it's the economical and financial capital of Morocco.
I thought Casablanca was
the capital is Rabat. Is the political capital, is where the king lives, but the economical and financial capital is Casablanca. It's a very big city, over 5-6 million people around.
I guess that's the same in Dubai. Everybody thinks Dubai is the capital,
but it's
not Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is the capital. If anybody's watching us right now, you just found out that Abu Dhabi is the capital, not Dubai.
Of the UAE.
Casablanca is not the capital, it is Rabat. All right, let's keep moving.
Which is pretty close. It's 1 hour drive from one to another. But so we set up the foundation school in September. We are planning to open the first foundation courses early next year.
Awesome.
And we are going to start promoting it. The idea is also, as you know, to provide the foundation course, but also in the very short, I would say, second half of next year to start also providing ATPL theory under EASA regulation in Morocco. And this will allow our students to save some money. They don't need to go and spend
so much of time.
They can save at least 9-10 months.
Amazing.
Staying at home and having the ground school there. And then they can move to Europe just to do the flight training. We didn't finish before, but you were mentioning what is the decision process for the student to choose between the three locations. So price-wise, there are some differences.
Sure. Obviously, the cost of living is different.
Yes. And that's exactly...
Are the taxes also different in those
completely
three countries?
Different.
Completely different.
So that's why the prices...
It's Europe,
So as we were discussing, the standards are the same, the fleet is the same. So what changes? It's the environment. So we operate in different environments, political, fiscal environments. France is, as everyone knows, a very expensive country.
It is. I'm sure people who have gone to Paris on touristic trips can definitely say it's adapted.
So the taxes are very high there. Salaries are very high as well, so our instructors are very well paid, which is good.
I'm sure they're very happy.
Very-
If you're a French
I'm
person
very
watching
sure.
this, I'm sure they're very happy.
I'm
Yeah?
sure they are very happy. But of course, if you speak French or if you have family there, relatives, you probably are more motivated to train there.
Francophonic countries?
Yes.
All the Francophonic.
Like the Moroccans that we were discussing.
Some West African countries as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
all French-speaking countries. Then we have Italy, which
Okay.
is cheaper, has a cheaper cost of life.
Good food. Italy.
Amazing food.
Amazing food, right?
Which is a
South of
problem.
Italy.
It's a problem. I'm trying to avoid to go there. It's a big problem. The food is, you cannot find a place where the food is bad. It's really
sure,
a
I'm
problem.
sure.
And we just opened our ground school in Milan.
The beautiful museum.
Yes, we are in the Aviation Museum, fully immersed on an aviation environment. It was actually an aircraft factory
Wow.
in the 1920s, one of the first
amazing.
aircraft brands that was produced in Europe. It was acquired later on by Leonardo,
I had no idea though.
and now it's a museum. You still have it's a great location to, and we are next to the Malpensa airport.
And then there's a train. I see pictures of an old classic steam train.
They also put trains there, but we can walk from the, so you can arrive from the airport and walk to our school,
Amazing.
or you can arrive by high-speed train also, and we are next to the high-speed train.
And that's where the theory classes for 80
There's
people
theory
will be done.
classes, and we're going to start our first theory course in January, last week of January.
Amazing.
And we have our base in Forlì, which is a little bit south of Bologna. That is running okay. So the locations are great. The cost of life is a little bit lower than France. And then we have Portugal, where the cost of
Let's
life.
talk about Portugal.
I'm a little bit biased,
Okay.
as you know, because I'm
Okay.
Portuguese.
Sure, sure. No, but I've heard a lot about Cascais. Am I pronouncing it right?
Cascais.
Cascais.
Cascais
I've heard it's
airport.
one of the most beautiful places, the beaches, places to jump off of a cliff.
Well, okay, you can jump, but you shouldn't. Maybe you don't come back. No, it's a great location. So Cascais is a satellite city of Lisbon.
Okay.
It's
Wait, once again, Portugal. Capital is
Lisbon.
Lisbon. I
Lisbon.
did not know that.
You
all
should
right.
know that.
I did not know
Okay,
that.
I'm going to
So-
give you a history lesson. Okay. So Lisbon was created by the Phoenicians
Way back.
2,000 years
Way
ago.
back. Wow.
Yeah, so it was, you know, the Greeks, you have Homero
Yes.
Odyssey, you know, with the Ulysses. You know, I don't know in English. So there's this book from Homer, the Greek writer, that he wrote about this Greek navigator that expanded. So Lisbon is named after him. So it's really quite old, the history of people living in this area. And we are the country in Europe that has the oldest borders. So Europe has been changing because
Sure,
of
the
wars,
kingdoms and-
whatever.
yeah.
Our borders are the same for almost 900 years.
That's amazing.
We will be almost 900 years.
Amazing.
So why am I saying this? Because it's a country with a lot of history.
Sure.
As you know, we expanded a lot to the world. We have still a lot of Portuguese-speaking countries in different continents. And this makes Portugal a country where everybody is welcomed. We have in our DNA this way of getting along with.
Hospitality and
It's natural for us. We get along with people from any origin,
So would
any
you
religion,
say-
any nationality.
would you say that means the visa process might be a lot more easier than many of the other European countries?
That's different. I don't
That's
know.
different?
Well, it depends. So the process, and we are all of the three countries that we are all under the Schengen regulation. And as you know, Schengen is an agreement between some of the EU countries to facilitate the free circulation of people. And this is linked with the visa issue. So the process should be the same for both France,
Okay.
Italy, or Portugal. But then there are some specific national requirements.
Okay.
In the case of France, for example, there is a Campus France, which is a specific
Yes,
thing
yes.
for the students to go and study in France.
That's correct.
It also depends on the country of the person. If you are coming from a country that has some issues, probably the process takes longer. Also depends on the country where you are applying for the visa. And we know, for example, here in the UAE, our embassy is a little bit overwhelmed with requests of visas. So it tends to take longer. So it really depends. I'm not going to say that one is better than the other, but going to Portugal, I think it's a very welcoming country. It's a very safe country. It's one of the top 5 countries in the world in terms of safety. It's quite affordable compared to
Compared to
Italy and
France
France.
and- yeah, okay.
It's cheap. It has a cheaper cost of life. Of course, the bigger Lisbon area, the capital, is the most expensive part of the country, and Cascais, where we are, it's the most expensive part of Lisbon because it's a high-end destination.
Okay.
40% of the people that live in this area are expats from a number of different origins. So it's really a
international
multicultural,
students are not
international
going to have
environment.
any major issues. Okay, that's very good.
So we operate we're going to operate in Cascais Airport.
And what is the deadline on the time?
February to start.
February,
That's
okay.
our target.
All right.
We are partnering with a local school, also a very old, over 30-year-old school with a good reputation. And Cascais Airport is a business jet and flight training airport.
Okay. So that's a decent sized airport.
It is a good airport, 25 kilometers from Lisbon International Airport. So
Beautiful.
it's really close. And we are going to have a secondary base 150 kilometers from Lisbon
Wow.
on non-controlled airspace, ILS, GPS approved airport.
That's perfect for training.
Really great facilities. So our idea is actually to send our international students to this location because we can expedite a lot the training there. But again, personal decision. If a person feels that it will feel more comfortable in France or Italy or Portugal, I think that's the beauty of Airways Aviation.
We have so many different options
as
for
far
everyone.
as I know,
Exactly. You could be
nobody
any
else.
nationality right now watching us. There might be one location which might
Yeah.
be a little bit better for you compared to the others. So
Maybe
talk
you
to
know
one of
somebody
our-
in this specific
Exactly.
country, or
Exactly.
maybe you speak the language for
Exactly.
some reason.
I mean, get in touch with one of our team members and they will actually let you know based on your capabilities, based on your assessment scores, based on your
Yes.
requirements, where do you want to work in future? Which part of the world do you see
Yeah,
yourself flying
that's
for an
that's
airline?
the mentoring that we can provide.
Exactly. So that's our admission team's job to get you all that information. There's no blanket statement here. I cannot give you one blanket statement which fits all.
No, there's not.
No fits.
And as I mentioned before, if in the end we have all these offer, and as far as I know, there's no other training organization that provides training in so many different countries
Correct.
like we do.
We have one of the biggest
Yes,
landscapes and the biggest,
But even so, if at the end they feel that they would be better in another school, which is fine, okay. And we really want people to thrive and go into aviation if they are passionate.
Okay.
And if we see them thriving in the industry, we'll be happy as well. So no hard feelings.
And some of the questions which you guys have asked me, I'm going to ask him. This is one of the most common questions
Yeah.
I get, right? So we'll end with this question where a lot of concerned pilots message me, aspiring pilots concerned, message me saying, we see the AI taking over the world, Apple intelligence is coming up.
For sure.
Does aviation industry have any fear where...
You watch Terminator? It's going to
Yes.
happen. It's just a matter of time.
But the concern is, will pilots be still required in
I
a
don't
few
think so.
years?
Yeah, I think so as well.
Will the AI
So-
not affect the pilot shortage is the question.
I don't think so, at least in the foreseeable decades. I think it will happen. I have no doubt that it will happen. And as you know, planes already fly without pilots.
Sure, some of the military planes and stuff, yeah.
Even the airliners. So the pilots are there for takeoff and landing, right? The rest of the flight is autopilot, but the pilot is the safety measure if something happens.
You can't
because
remove the pilot
You
completely.
can't remove it yet, and even you cannot remove the two pilots. You cannot have a single pilot operation right now, for many reasons. Because the human being is still a hazard. If something happens with this single pilot,
Sure.
who is
What
there
if he
as a
falls
backup?
asleep? I mean, the famous incident from the German wings. The
Yes, the guy
first
that went to
officer-
decided
exactly.
to go against a mountain. So
Exactly. I
all
mean,
of these
he
issues.
locks the door from inside. Exactly.
And unfortunately, it was not the only one. There are a few examples of similar cases. So I don't expect in the near decade or more that we'll move from two pilot operation to a single pilot operation, but it will happen.
Eventually, yeah.
So it will happen when the AI is safe and developed enough,
Proved enough,
yes, to replace the second pilot, but we'll still have one pilot. And maybe in 30, 40 years, we will have the planes flying alone.
So right now, students who are
Maybe.
16 and 17, they have nothing to be worried about.
And I'm saying maybe because it's really a big question mark. There's so many things that we need to consider. AI is very useful for a lot of things in the pilot training area. We can assess the reactions of the student when he's training or the pilot in the simulator. We can assess through a learning management system the results of the test, or if the student is training, reading and apprehending the matter, the subject, on a proper way, or if he needs additional training, the AI can help us also tailor programs
Oh yes, for sure.
for the students. As you know, EASA is moving into, right now the program is very fixed, right? You have a minimum number of hours,
Correct.
a ground school and flight time. What is being discussed in EASA is that there will be no limit of hours. Through AI and this competency-based training,
Yeah.
we will, the school, will create a tailored program for this student.
Based on
you
his
probably need
requirements.
100 hours, I probably need 200 hours, this
Sure.
guy probably needs 50, the other guy
Sure.
probably needs 500.
Sure.
AI is going to be very helpful for this, but it takes time because the AI needs to learn. So we need to feed the
We
AI
need
for
to
a
feed,
long
exactly.
period
It's only
of time.
as good as what information we give him. yeah.
Exactly. So it has to be fed with a lot of useful information for a long period of time. So again, I have no fear that it will replace
So if you're afraid,
for
don't
the
worry.
next 40, 50 years, even more.
Oh,
Honestly.
right. All right. So, one last message to all the students out there watching. What is that one message you want to leave them with?
Well, if they really want to get into aviation and to become pilots, if they are passionate about it, do it.
All right.
That's it.
And from our
Good.
B2B customers.
Don't think about
Mhm.
it's difficult. I don't know about maths. My English is not good. I don't have the money. If you want it, do it. There's always a way.
It's very good. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Alex, for that lovely. That was for our B2C students.
Oh yeah.
One last
B2B.
message for our B2B customers who might
Okay.
be out there,
Well.
who are looking at you and Airways Aviation. Why should we work
Okay.
with Airways
So
Aviation?
as you know, you know more than a lot of people because you've been in Airways for almost 10 years, right?
This December, yeah. This
Okay.
December.
We are more a B2B company than a B2C actually. And we have been trying to balance because we have to have a balanced flow of students, both self-sponsor and airline or military students, but we are still a more B2B company.
Sure.
So a lot of the market already knows us because we work with them. We work with a lot of airlines. We work with a lot of military or defense forces. So what they need to know about us is that we are flexible. We don't provide specific program for them. We try to create specific programs for their requirements.
Tailor it according to them, yeah.
And I think that's something that differentiates us from our competitors because usually they have a very fixed offer that they provide and they don't go out of that. And we have, I can tell you right now, just in France, we have 4 different programs running at the same time. So that's one of the things. So the flexibility, the speed, we are very fast. We have a very fast decision-making process.
Okay.
If we need to do an investment to tailor a specific need of a specific customer, we do it. Then our physical capability. We have our fleet. We have a very
Sure.
large fleet.
That's one of our biggest.
It's a very large fleet.
biggest
Right now,
points,
if we combine all our locations globally, we have 83 aircraft.
Wow.
And I think
And growing, you know?
growing. We will reach 100 next year, I have no doubt. And I think right now 13 or 14 simulators. So capability, we have capability, and we can grow and expand that capability through our fast decision-making process. Again, and looking at our biggest B2B competitors, or peers, not competitors, they are usually very large organizations that have a very long decision-making process, and sometimes it takes months and months, and we don't do it. If a customer, an airline, is in desperate need of something urgent, they just need to come to us. We sit down, what do you need? And we can tell. If we can do it, we cannot do it. It's very important that we deliver what we say we will deliver. Because our word is our bond.
That's very true.
And
That's very important.
we like to have a good name in the market. I think we still have it.
Definitely.
It's out there and people knows it. So get in touch with us. That's what I can tell you.
And let's finish with that. How do you get in touch with Alex?
Well, social media.
What's the best way to contact you?
Well, depending on the region, we have offices all around the world. If you are in the Middle East, you contact our Dubai office through our.
Get in touch with Dubai at airwaysaviation.com.
Yes.
How does somebody personally get in touch with you out there?
I think LinkedIn is the best option.
LinkedIn,
I don't promise to reply immediately because I'm traveling a lot and I have a lot of things, but I always reply. So yeah, reach out to me on LinkedIn or through one of our offices in Europe or
We've got France at airwaysaviation.com. That's one of our email
yeah,
IDs.
so yeah,
We've got
every country that we have a generic email account that's is the country name at airwaysaviation.com. So
perfect.
Italy, France, Portugal, Cape Verde, Morocco, and so on.
All right. Thank you so much, Alex. It was lovely getting to know you.
Great.
And
Thanks.
stay tuned for more. A lot of fun stuff coming
Thanks.
up. And we have a lot of big announcements coming up very soon, early next year.
Yeah.
Thank you.